let's quickly proceed towards next panel discussion. As I mentioned before, the topic is building resilient and sustainable water management ecosystem through technology. In order to moderate this session, please help me to welcome Dr. Shruti Sharma, TERI School of Advanced Studies. Kindly to join us on stage. Mr. Aman Mittal, IAS, joint CEO, Maharashtra Institution for Transformation, MITRA. Mr. Aman, to join us on stage. Dr. Pihu Francis, IAS, Joint Managing Director, Kerala Water Authority. Dr. Mukesh Kumar Sinha, Chairperson, Godavari River Management Board. Mr. Anupam Mishra, Director, Commercial and HRD, WAPCOS. Mr. Nalin Kumar Srivastava, Deputy Director General, National Mission for Clean Ganga, Government of India. DP Mathuria, Chief Engineer, PDO, Central Water Commission, Government of India. Bishwadeep Ghose, Country Director, Water for People, India. Scott Byfield, Business Development Team, US, Grundfos. Moderator Dr. Shruti Sharma.
Okay.
All over to you, ma'am. Just two requests. Firstly, just try to wrap it on time because I think we are coming in between lunch and the day. And also, I think before the speakers join us, just to try to just make it a little interactive with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for setting up the context. And I understand all of us are time constrained here. So we will try to wrap up in 20 minutes. A very important topic, the panel discussion is on. And we have very senior people in the panel with me. The topic is building resilient and sustainable ecosystem through smart technologies. And to begin with the panel discussion, I would like to quote what Albert Einstein said, that we cannot solve our problems by the thinking we used when we created them. So the problem, I think all of us have spoken about it since morning, the problems related to climate change, the problems. When we talk about climate change, I think in Hindi, climate is Jal Vayu. So everything is centered around Jal and Vayu here. And that is what our panel discussion is all about. Like we've been talking about technology as an enabler in solving the problem of climate change. And the benign technologies, I think, excellent. We saw an excellent technology presentation before this panel discussion. And I would just start with questions here. And I would like to start with Mr. Aman Mittal. And I would like to ask you that what is your vision of water management in India? And how do you see the contribution of smart technologies?
As far as water management is concerned, I think we are all on a consensus that technology is going to form the backbone for water management and reduction of losses. But when I have to be very specific in terms of water management, there are three things which are going to be very, very important. One is that water is not going to remain free, but we will never be able to take 100% of the cost of generating water. So we will have to come to some kind of a mid-path consensus where we will have to subsidize somewhere, either the electricity cost or generation costs. And people will have to start understanding that they cannot have extremely low rates of water throughout. So there has to be an optimum that will have to be generated. Second point is water infrastructure will in the long run have to be a very important part of the core infrastructure, because when we talk about infrastructure right now, it's a lot to do with roads and highways. But I guess when we look at the creation of water infrastructure, that is probably one of the most expensive components of infra. When we look at JJM, it was something like 5 or 7 lakh crores, or probably it's going to go around 10 lakh crores. So I think, and that will probably have to be put in probably every 20-25 years. So that is going to be the second part of it. So all your infra, long-term infra projects will have to have a component of water infra into it, which will have to be redone every 20-25 years, and that has to be a capital intensive cost that cannot be borne by the public generally. And third is that public, and last, I think the public institutions will have to become more accountable, because such high levels of non-revenue water, there was a time when we did not pay for electricity too much. Then we had the Electricity Act coming up, and then all the private players came in, and we see a great reduction in power losses. So same thing is probably going to happen, maybe not now, maybe 10 years from now, we'll have a lot of private participation and more public accountability to our public institutions.
Very important. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just interrupting. We have Dr. Binu Francis, IAS Joint Managing Director, Kerala Authority. Welcome, sir, on stage. And we are also being joined by Mr. Nalin Kumar Srivastava, Deputy Director General, National Mission for Clean Ganga. Welcome on stage.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I welcome the panelists for joining the panel discussion. And let me actually start from where Mr. Aman Mittal left the conversation. And he spoke about the role of public-private partnership, very crucial when we look at developing an ecosystem of water management in India. A government has a very big role to play, and that is what I would like to ask, Dr. Mukesh here, that what kind of role does government has and international bodies they have in creating a very conducive environment to create a water management system here in India? Yes, sir.
Just one. Okay. We'll be joined by two more panelists. Welcome Pratul Saxena, Project Director, Atal Bhujal Yojana, Department of Water Resources and River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, Ministry of Jal Shakti. Welcome, sir. And we would also like to welcome Dr. D.S. Pai, Scientist G and Head of Agrometeorology and Hydrometeorology of IMD. Welcome, Dr. Pai. Can we have Dr. Pai? Yes. Hattus.
Yes.
Thank you, Bash. As you all, one role is of governance and facilitator, role of a facilitator. The water crisis has been on the agenda of the government since long, immediately after independence also. And that's why, in fact, the ultimate policy body, that is the Water Development Council, was constituted also by the erstwhile Planning Commission. We in the Ministry of Water Resources are now renamed as Ministry of Jal Shakti, has already made water policies, first in 1986, which was revised in 92, and then again an extensive consultation process was taken up in 2011. In 2012, we have the National Water Policy. The further review is ongoing, but so far that policy 2012 is in force, and that is there. So government has laid out its policy directions in all the way. The prime objective is, of course, enabling environment. The key factors are, of course, the water conservation and basin management. In fact, many of the thing has been talked during inauguration and another part also. The 5 key factors on the government is focusing on is, of course, water conservation. All the Jal Jeevan Mission and other things are there. The second part towards our... It's not audible? Okay, fine. I think, fine. So first is, of course, water conservation, which is there. The government has taken many steps in that direction. Second step was to reach out to the people, and that's why the policy laid down emphasis, and that now the government has taken up Jal Jeevan Mission in a big way. In fact, it is one of the biggest, largest policy in terms of investment, 3.5 lakh crore every year it's going. We have made a success a lot in this part. Another So many other schemes have been touched upon. I mean, it is not it will take again a full complete day on that if I go on all the schemes which have taken up. Broadly, like aquifer management is then, irrigation development concept is there. In fact, to summarize that, I will just take you, because you must be aware about Maslow's law of hierarchy of needs. So as our status grows up, our needs changes. And that is what has gone in the water sector in our country also. Immediately after independence, we went for Roti Kapra Makan. And that was the era of Nehru Gandhi, where the focus was on giving the food security, water security, and the housing sector was there. The second stage we went into which was during the first NDA government of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Bijli Sarak Pani. So focus was on road construction and water supply. After the Modi government came, the focus was on Avarilta, Nirmalta and Swachhta. That total sanitation campaign, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, all that is started. The second phase started with Jal Jeevan Mission, Jal Shakti Abhiyan, another part. And now we are in the Modi 3-phase era, where we have to go for environment, friendly sustainability and other part. In that context, the leveraging technology becomes very important. We have got many success stories. In fact, all the technology presentation is there. They have presented the best of the technologies are available in India also. It's not that we are devoid of the technology. We have the technology, but there's a need to upscale and universalize it. And for that, we have to, government is working towards it. Of course, parallelly, a realization is also coming up because technology is driven by economics. Unfortunately, water sector has not seen the economic infusion. And this is very much, the government, at least the government officers are sensitive towards that part. But the political compulsions of free water, free electricity is putting us back. But we are trying to continue with our persuasive effort with the political masters so that they understand these aspects. I tell you, in fact, I was associated with National Water Policy formulation. So the moment I proposed, because at that time Dublin conference was there and water was described as economic good. So I proposed a chapter on water pricing. There is a chapter. Then immediately my minister called me and said, do you want me to be kicked out? You are proposing a pricing factor. It is highly political sensitive in there. I said, let us look at it from the different perspective. So I organized a conference with the Panchayati Raj institution and the cabinet minister. So let the lower level political functionary present and speak what they want. We had for regional conferences, north side, west side and all the sides. And I tell you, the outcome of that conference was really eye-opening kind of things. The entire Panchayati Raj institution, the farmers, they were coming with the CDs, very openly telling, we don't mind pricing, give us water. And that was the loud and clear method. We recorded it and we presented to the cabinet that presentation, what was the fair. Even the cabinet, which is a political taboo of pricing, they listened to it and accepted. And that's why the National Water Policy has a chapter on water pricing. So we do agree that pricing subject or economics is a political sensitiveness, but water is such a item which is, you can't just do about it.
Absolutely.
And that's why this is coming up, and probably I look forward to more and more now water use efficiency is coming. For there also we need economy. So we are working towards that direction.
Yeah. And I think in the morning presentation, how they started about water credits. So that's, again, when you talk about water pricing, that's also one of the things where we are moving, besides water being a listed commodity in New York Stock Exchange. So that's, I think, where the economics of water is. From here, I would like to move on to Mr. Bishwadeep, and I would like to ask you a question that how do you think smart technologies have revolutionized the water management system in recent years? And can you specify any examples?
Thank you, Shruti. And to the audience, especially my sympathies. 2 बज गए हैं, बाहर खाना ठंडा हो रहा है, and I really feel bad. But thank you for the privilege. I think I am the only CSO NGO representative. तो हमारा काम बेसिकली कम्युनिटी के साथ है प्राइमरीली. वी आर नॉट ए टेक्नोलॉजी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, बट वी आर वेरी कीन दैट टेक्नोलॉजी बी यूज्ड to empower communities for them to take decisions and for them to be able to manage their water. So, technology important. Before we come to technology, when I was listening to the other speakers in the morning, it was very clear. I think a person from Israel also said that हमारे यहाँ problems are localized, right? So much of the drinking water, agriculture is all dependent on groundwater. Groundwater का जो system है, जो regime है in aquifers, it is occurs very differently in different places. तो one size fit solution वहाँ काम नहीं करता. We work in Bengal, for example, Sundarbans है in the same state, and Birbhum. Sundarban में it's a flood prone area. There is salinity problem. There is water quality. वो माला देवी बोल रही थी. On the other hand, in the same state, Birbhum में 12 में से 2 महीना there is no drinking water because it's arid. There is depletion of groundwater. So what works in Birbhum will not work in Sundarban, for example. So the solutions what we try to see, it is decentralized or groundwater management के लिए, because the model draft groundwater bill भी जो आया है, it recognizes groundwater as a common pool resource which needs to be managed by the community in a decentralized way. तो इसलिए how do you do that? 6 लाख गांव हैं हमारे यहाँ. 6 लाख villages will have to make their own water security plans that will tell them the quantity of water they have available with them, which includes surface water, groundwater, based on which they have to decide on the allocations. So यहाँ, when you try to do things at scale, you can't do it without technology. That is where we have seen in our own work how technology can act as a enabler for scale. और ये प्रयोग आई थिंक प्रतुल जी जब बात करेंगे अटल भूजल योजना में, इट हैज़ बीन डेमोन्स्ट्रेटेड एट स्केल. 8,500 पंचायत में आई थिंक people have been able to demonstrate that how water needs to be managed in a decentralized manner. And how technology plays the role of an enabler.
Okay. So I think, thank you. And I think, let me ask Mr. Pratul this question, because you spoke about that you worked in this area. So what are the challenges you feel is there, in adaptation of these smart water management technologies at scale?
So just to give you a brief outline of what we are doing in Atal Bhujal Yojana. I mean, in the earlier sessions, we had discussions about how groundwater is playing a very vital role. And because of this role, there is a extraction which has now reached in certain areas to an unsustainable levels. So we at the Ministry of Jal Shakti, it was decided that we now need a paradigm shift from development of groundwater resources to management of groundwater resources. And for that, the task was very well defined. First, you involve the communities. Second, you have convergence with other schemes, either central or state. Third, go in for some technological adaptations and harness the power of data. Data should be demystified, easily understood by the community. It should be democratized, collected by the community, understood by the community, and decentralized. We don't want a central agency to gather the data. You strengthen the community, you build their capacities, you provide them the requisite equipment so that they are able to, take the data from different sources, whether it is water level data, the water quality data, the rainfall data, data from extraction through water flow meters, and all of those things. So as a pilot, although at a scale, we took this scheme in 7 states, around 80 districts, some 230 blocks, and around 8,200 gram panchayat. One of our focus was the involvement of women in this thing. So Atal Bhujal Yojana mandates around 30% women involvement in the what we call as participatory groundwater management committees. And of those, in those committees, 20% women should be in a leadership role, either the chairperson, the vice chairperson, or the treasurer. So based on these things, the women involvement right now is 33% in those village and water sanitation committees, and around 20% are in a leadership role. To harness the power of community, we engaged CSOs, NGOs who handhold with the communities. And through these CSOs and NGOs, communities themselves prepared a water budget, which was an account of how much water is available and how much water is required. And based on this data, they prepared a water security plan, which included interventions, both supply side and demand side, through which this gap between availability and requirement should be bridged. Those interventions were to be implemented through convergence of different schemes. And this should have been, this should bring about a change in the behavior level of the communities. This is the background, and for this, the technological adaptation which we did, we have prepared a Atal Jal portal, and Atal Jal MIS, and an Atal Jal mobile app. So this mobile app which we have is can be used both for data generation, data collection, as well as for data dissemination. So we have got the data for around 8,200 gram panchayats, and we are thinking of further scaling it up. So for a particular gram panchayat, you can have a look at the water level for the past few years, the water quality data, and that data has been converted into information, whether the groundwater levels are falling, what is the water quality looks like, is it potable or not. We also have a summary of all the artificial recharge and water conservation structures situated in that gram panchayat. We have the location of rain gauges, the location of water flow meters, and we also have the water security plan. And anyone with this mobile app, which is available both in Android and iOS platform, can have a look. As far as public acceptability is there, yes. I mean, it can be because the states which were selected were mostly water-stressed states. So the community there knew the importance of water, and in particular the groundwater. And that acceptability was there.
That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful to know. And I think very rightly you've highlighted this point that it has to be anything to be sustainable. It has to be inclusive and affordable. I think that is what was highlighted by what you mentioned. Anything to scale up or to be sustainable. So with this, I in fact want to ask Dr. Binu Francis the next question. And I would like to ask you, sir, what kind of policies and regulatory frameworks are required, to support smart technology in our water management system?
Okay, thank you. In Kerala, that's I am representing. So Kerala Water Authority is the sole agency for distribution of supply of production and supply of water, including sewerage collection and disposal in a scientific way. As per the constitutional mandate, it is the local body to supply the same. But in Kerala, that's the water authority is doing the same. Okay, we are mainly focused on urban area. Nowadays, after Jal Jeevan Mission, we are also focusing on rural area. Almost 50% of the household has been already covered. Okay. Then coming to water authority, that's we have statutory board. We are a statutory body and it has been in 1984 that's we have an act. So it is a statute body. All the policies and almost all the regulations are supported by some regulations and rules. Since some mandatory authority is going to the water authority, almost all the policies are backed by the some rules and regulations, including tariff and change of tariff and different categorization of customers and how the connections are given and what is the mechanism for revenue collection. These are governed by the rules. Since enforceability is there, there should be some law, there should be some rules, then only we can enforce the same, including the revenue recovery. Okay. Then recently we have 3 rules and regulations. One is there are a number of private tankers. They are supplying water. They are sourced from different sources. Maybe sometimes from the water authority's treated source, sometimes maybe from the lake or some rivers, which may be sometimes polluted. So we have issued a notification to regulate the water tankers should be registered and they should source the water from the authorized vending point of the water authority only. And all the vehicles are monitored with the GPS system. So these kind of regulatory system should be there to regulate. Since once the water is not a scarce thing, plenty of water is there, and many waterborne diseases are there. So water supply should be regulated and should be either, if it may be through a private agency or some government agency, but there should be some regulator. See, in power sector we have regulator. Since it has been privatized, some private entities are there. In many states, still this water supply is to the government agency. So if it is privatized, then there should be some regulator, a government on regulator to regulate all these things. Since water supply plays a vital role in all sectors, the industry, maybe in the normal life of ordinary people, it should be regulated by the government agency, for which some kind of policy should be there. Its policy should be backed by the laws. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, Aman, you've highlighted the importance of governance. I think everything starts from governance and regulation somehow, as far as the behavior change is concerned.
One more thing, this regulatory means to not to regulate, but facilitate and equip, even if it is a private agency. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for highlighting the importance. I would like to ask now Mr. Anupam Mishra that I know. Yeah, give me some time. That what kind of strategies can be employed to include all the stakeholders, community, for the water management practices? So Mr. Anupam Mishra is not here, I believe. Okay. So I think, sir, can I ask you this question? That what kind of strategies can we employ to include all the stakeholders, communities in the world?
Say, water management, again, I think would need to be approached comprehensively when we are looking at any system. And particularly in the context of when we are looking at the water management in any, I would say, administrative boundary, the most important part which needs to be addressed is that how it is connected to river. Because ultimately the source of water is river flowing through that district. And why I am saying this is because I come from National Mission for Clean Ganga, and how this river water can be reused, recycled to bring out, I would say, if we increase the water use efficiency is one of the most fundamental tasks which we need to kind of take over. And that is why now we are trying to integrate river management plan with water conservation plan of the district, so that we have one comprehensive approach for water management within the administrative boundaries of a district, where we focus on various water bodies, rejuvenation of water bodies. We focus on what are the areas where we need to kind of work upon to ensure that the water is used efficiently. One of the very important components in that is how we define the reuse water policy. Like
Water can be reused in power sector, water can be reused in agriculture sector, and these are all bulk consumers. So we need to see that how these bulk consumption can be regulated so that water is available for everybody. And to facilitate this process, the technologies which are there and how we can make this water suitable for the particular use, we need to work that out, and technology can play a big part in it. And as many of the speakers have pointed out, data is also one of the very important components in that. We need to have a proper modeling and a data system which can support this entire process. And there is a need for river management plan and water conservation plan to be looked at comprehensively so that we are able to kind of look at the sustainable solution for water management in the entire district and city where we are talking about.
Thank you so much. Very relevant point. In fact, I would like to ask Scott that what do you think is the importance of research and development in the speed?